Welcome to the Call to Defend podcast, which is your cause for celebration. My name is Caleb Elliott, and this is Josh Davis. How you doing, Josh?
Are we really the cause of celebration?
It'll make more sense once we get into it.
I don't know if we can say that we're the cause of celebration.
It'll make more sense when we get into it.
Anyways, I'm doing fine. We just, I think the last one we recorded was like in the middle of the week. This is the one we're doing right after I just taught for 2 hours. So I'm not in the hot seat today.
Hour 15, hour and a half.
I rounded up.
That was a generous roundup, but okay.
All right. I usually teach for 2 hours. Today I didn't. But yeah. And now it's your turn to run today.
It is. I will say, so we have similar length in terms of notes, but my font is bigger because I'm old and I can't read.
Of course.
I was looking at your font. I was like, I legitimately have no idea how you can read that. I cannot read that from here. I think yours is 12 point.
Did you add on to the one I sent you, or
did you? Bigger font. Yeah, I literally used the same doc.
Then yeah, that's no wonder I didn't see.
I was gonna say I just hit enter a couple times and put it on the same document.
Oh, well, there you
go. But yeah, no. So I.
Oh my gosh, that's so much bigger.
Listen, my eyes are horrible.
You did you did it on the Hebrew page too.
Yes, I literally just. As I told you, I just hit enter a couple times. And then went from there.
Oh my gosh. Anyways. Do I need to pull up my set of notes too, or
huh?
Do I need to have my set of notes up, or are we just going purely off yours?
I mean, you can bring your notes up. That's fine. I don't know how long mine will take, but I mean, I think I can probably get like 25-ish minute conversation out of mine at least.
No, we'll see. Anyways, we delayed long enough for them wondering where we're going with this.
So, last episode, we talked about the Hebrew words for joy.
Yeah, emphasis on words.
Words. Greek is a little more simple because Greek is superior.
Okay.
And
your Greek is dependent on my Hebrew.
In this instance, yes.
Many instances.
In this instance, Greek only has 2 words.
Okay.
One of them we're already familiar with because we talked about it last time with the Septuagint.
Okay.
And where we get the word euphoria from, it is the word euphoresune.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be primarily talking about the word Chara.
Okay. So when you say there's only 2 words, is it like in the essence where we like that is the base words for it, or is it like they're shared roots that kind of explore like with the simcha and the sameach and the sameh?
Pretty much just the base words.
Okay.
So there are a few variations, primarily on Chara.
Okay.
And for that pronunciation, by the way, because pronunciation is obviously very important, it differs from a kappa, right? So this is a key, an alpha, rho, alpha.
Okay.
It's Chara. When you pronounce that, you pronounce it with the base of your throat.
Okay.
So it's Chara. It's down here.
Chara
is where you make the sound. Versus if you started with a kappa, you'd make it with the palate. Kappa. At the top. So it's kappa. That's a Chara versus Chara.
So I think
there's a little bit more of a breath too.
So kind of like when you say car sound. A little bit?
Yes, car.
Okay.
Right. Versus
so it should be able to
carriage.
It should flip into our pronunciation sort of easily because it's the same pronunciation-ish.
Similar-ish
enough. With car, at least in English terms, it's kara and car, or just similarities in the way you pronounce it.
Or like character.
Okay.
Right, like character. You don't say,
character.
Yeah. You don't say character, right? You don't pronounce it with the upper portion of the palate. You pronounce it with the base of the throat. Character.
Okay. You do.
So,
I don't. I go character.
Well, you're wrong.
Okay.
The CH sound, right? It's that CH together.
Because in the Greek it provides a k versus the Hebrew is more of a ch, right?
Yes, right. Yeah, there's no ch in Greek.
Some people have tried.
Some people have, and they're wrong. And so the word kara we often translate as joy, with joy, or rejoicing.
Gotcha.
It's good enough
Mm.
because we don't exactly have a word that translates perfectly.
Mhm.
So like we think of joy, and we talked about this last time, as like a positive outlook,
Mm.
a general demeanor. That's not how the Greeks viewed joy.
Okay.
It's actually somewhat similar to the Old Testament, but there is a slight difference. So simcha, we talked about being, like the act of, right?
Right.
The outpouring of.
The outpouring and the feeling were tied together. If you had the feeling that there would be an outpouring.
Yeah.
Whereas if there was no outpouring, it's really questionable if you actually had that feeling.
Right. So there is somewhat of that when we get to the verb forms.
Okay.
The lexical form here, which is the noun, right? The base form, Chara. It's more about the celebration. It's the event of it.
Interesting.
So it's not a feeling, it's not an action, it's more of this is something that is happening. This is joy that is occurring. So, and the reason for that, I would argue, probably is Stoicism.
Okay.
Which dictated a lot of Greek philosophy in the first century, especially, but also before then. It would have had probably a very profound impact on the language. It was very popular philosophy, and Stoicism was, obviously where we get the word stoic from, which is
Right.
generally kind of emotionless. That's a bit oversimplifying.
Yes.
The Stoics were not emotionless. They very much viewed emotion, though, in your response to an event should be proportionate to the event. Right? They believe that attaining inner peace was done through proper emotional response. Ergo, they put more emphasis on the event itself rather than the feeling that comes from it. Right? So the event determines how you should feel, determines the tone. That's very much how joy is portrayed in the New Testament.
Okay, I was going to ask if that was the Greek concept, and if the New Testament played with that, or if they tried to work against that and correct that, or.
Yeah, no, they pretty much say we're going to work within this cultural framework of.
This is what joy is.
Yeah.
When we were writing it down this way. Okay.
Well, and especially since joy mostly comes from Paul's letters.
Right.
It's certainly present in the New Testament, but also it's most heavily present in Luke, who is a Greek.
Oh yeah.
Who is writing to non-Jewish readers,
right.
in particular Theophilus,
right.
which is not exactly a Jewish name.
No, not at all.
So, it most commonly appears in Paul and in Luke's writings. And in those, it's very much reflective of the thoughts of the Stoics.
Okay.
Which is joy is an event. It's a celebration.
So you still get that outpouring of something, but it's tied to an event.
Right.
Type of thing.
Yes.
Is it always tied to an event, or is there some exceptions to that?
I went through, I looked at every instance of Greek. There are a couple that are a little vague, but generally they're all tied to.
So the general usage.
There is joy, right? There is joy because X.
Gotcha.
Right. So there is, it's never, there just is this sense of joy.
It is caused by an event, or its expression or celebration is founded in something that has happened.
Yes. Or it's founded in something that you ought to reflect on, which we'll get to.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I even have right in the notes, Chara thus is meant to observe celebration happening or to partake in the celebration, not to celebrate yourself. Right. So it's not you that's necessarily doing the action. It's more the event that's taking place that causes Chara. So then I briefly mentioned the Septuagint word is actually only twice in the New Testament. So euphrosune,
right,
is only twice. That's probably closer to how we think of joy today. It's more of like a good feeling, right? And I say that culturally, right? Culturally, we think of joy as like, oh, you feel good, right? You're happy.
But within the
upbeat
Greek idea, really more like euphoria.
Right.
Would be
exactly.
That feeling.
Yes. Yeah.
Versus
a feeling of pleasure more so than
so then
out and out joy.
So just to kind of help maybe, because we kind of went into this a little bit last time, but just to kind of help divide this maybe a little bit more. So euphoria is doing like that happy feeling, that emotion more. Whereas before we kind of saw like in Hebrew they're kind of like linked together, but in the Greek they're kind of separating that a little bit. Am I understanding that correctly? That there is a feeling of joy, like an emotional sense, but then there's also joy in an event sense.
Yes.
So what exactly does it mean to be like joyful in an event sense versus joy in like in a emotional sense, I guess?
Well, so that's kind of funny. Due to the lack of usage of euphrosine, there really isn't much of a distinction made because there's just not enough examples of the feeling good.
So is
Right,
that
the
a distinction
feeling
that I'm
euphoria.
putting too much up of because of modern
Not
or
necessarily.
thinking? Because we
It's
talked about
just
before that the idea of joy and happy being separate was more of a like 200 years old,
yeah.
like really in like the English frame of thinking.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if that's my frame of thinking kicking in a little bit, or if it's
It could be a little bit. It's honestly not a question the Bible answers.
sure. Okay.
It's just right. Luke is the only one who uses euphrosine at all, and well, technically Peter does. He uses it in Acts 2:28, where he quotes the Septuagint. So,
of course, of
right,
course.
so that's one of the two uses in the New Testament is just quoting the Septuagint. The other one is Acts 14:17, where Paul says that God is the one who brings gladness.
So it's also Luke quoting someone
exactly
else.
right. Yeah. So there's really not right, and in which case, if we're using the idea of euphoria, then we're saying that it's God who brings that pleasure beyond understanding.
Which we saw in the Old Testament that they would sometimes use Yusufrune.
Yes,
Yusufrune.
close enough.
That they would use that word as one of the parallels for simcha. Like there
Right.
wasn't a direct parallel for simcha.
Mhm.
Chara could have been sometimes, and sometimes Yusufore. Or
Yeah, Chara less so. Chara less so because it's with the Hebrew. It's not so much as this event of celebration.
right. Whereas like in the Hebrew mind, simcha could be used of like this expression because of an event or because of this feeling because of the presence of God or a variety of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is no like both words sometimes are used in the Septuagint.
Yeah.
Whereas here it's like pretty much we're just going to focus on like the event,
Yes.
which I'm going to assume is the event of Christ is primarily what they're focused on.
In the Gospels, yes.
In the Gospels, okay.
Paul has a very different approach.
Interesting.
And I actually love what he does because we often sleep on the Holy Spirit.
Oh, yeah.
As Christians.
There's
Paul
a book
does not.
There's a book by Francis Chan I remember reading years ago called The Forgotten God, and it's an entire book dedicated to the Holy Spirit. I was like, yeah, we sleep on the Spirit a lot.
Oh, we sleep on him so hard.
Focus so like I understand kind of why, but we do completely ignore him.
We do, which I love. Pretty much every time that Paul brings up joy, it's in reference to the Spirit.
Okay, interesting.
He very rarely, I mean, like he'll talk about joy in Christ or just generally a sense of joy in God, but far and away the most common usage for him is the Spirit.
Gotcha.
Joy with the Spirit, right? And so that leads us to a very famous passage that I told you that this was going to be primarily focused on.
Sure.
It's not necessarily primarily focused on, but it's going to be the base layer, and we're just going to build everything off of that.
Sure.
Which is Galatians 5, the fruit of the Spirit.
Singular.
Yes, singular.
I still have to correct people on
singular.
That.
Yes, the fruit of the Spirit. So I have every other instance uses kata as a variant of it to describe a celebration. Joy being the fruit of the Spirit in Galatians 5:22, we have to understand that it is meant to be an observation of celebration.
An observation of celebration.
Yes.
Okay.
Observation of celebration. In the Greek context, that kind of means just combined. Those ideas are combined.
Okay.
Right. So if you are observing the celebration, you are also in a way partaking in it.
Gotcha.
Right, that's kind of how the Stoics thought of, if you go to a festival, you have partaken in the festival, even if you aren't.
Gotcha.
Drinking, eating, feasting, etc.
But your presence being there.
Your presence being there.
Okay.
Is participation in and of itself. So kata has this idea of like a passive type of joy.
Okay.
Where it's not like you are continually in the state of like gladness or happiness or something like that. Like it's not this continual idea of outpouring.
It's not euphoria.
It's not euphoria, right? So it's more of, as I said, kind of the observation of, right? So kind of this idea of participation, but not causing, I guess.
Okay.
Well, I think honestly, if we go through the example, it might help to understand a little
Sure.
better.
Yeah. Okay.
So the fruit of the spirit, if we take the word Chara and we understand it to mean like a celebration,
Mm-hmm.
rather than as we might think of it in our modern context of joy and how we view joy. Paul is then saying that there should be an ongoing celebration within you because of the Spirit who is dwelling in you.
Okay.
There should be, because you have been saved and because the Spirit has come upon you, there should be this continual partaking of the celebration of the Spirit.
Gotcha.
That's something, that is such a profoundly rich and beautiful concept that no one has ever told me before. And
It put things in perspective a little bit. And I was like, ouch.
Yeah.
I feel really lacking sometimes.
Exactly. And so that actually truthfully is why I wanted to do joy. Because I had looked at that and I looked at Chara and I was like, that is a much deeper word than anybody's ever portrayed.
When you first approached me about it, or like after, like even after we talked about the Hebrew?
Both and theology.
Both. Okay. Both and theology.
Like good both and theology. No, but so that's it was looking into that. I was like, wow, there's really something here that I've never heard talked about, which is you are supposed to be continually partaking in this celebration of the Spirit, this salvation that has been offered to you that you don't deserve, that you cannot possibly merit, but has been given to you anyways. Rejoice in that, celebrate in that, right? That, and in turn, that leads us into the sense of joy that we think about, which is that more positive demeanor, right? If you are in a continual and constant state of celebration, you're going to be in a better mood overall, right? The things that come against you aren't going to be as bad because you have a constant celebration.
So within the Galatians context, it's talking about like that, I don't want to say happy feeling, but that internal, there's something in like some internal that will cause an outpouring of.
Yes.
So if we were to combine,
which is very important for the Galatians.
I'll say if we combined, as they should, the Old and New Testament, this would be like the celebrating internally for there to be the outpouring of the gil, as we talked about, that really huge expression.
Yeah.
That word that we were like, why is that not there in the Greek? And a little bit that simcha too, but especially that gil and the simcha in the expressive sense. So like that is like, instead of it being simcha being the two, like the two are together, it's like this is the one that will cause that outpouring.
Yes.
So finding a root for that cause a little bit.
Yes. And the Spirit is to be that root.
The Spirit is to be root. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's something we've never.
I feel a little called out and ashamed right now.
Dude, you are where I was a few weeks ago of like just, oh wow, I do not celebrate the Spirit enough.
Well, I was even thinking that on a drive. I was like thinking about like, I was reflecting on the simcha part because we just spent that time talking about it. I was like, dang, I don't do this.
No.
And it's like, man. And I remember I said this in the sermon, but I got it from Alistair Begg. It was an analogy just kind of stuck with me fairly quickly and fairly well. He's like, when you think about fruit, the Spirit, it's supposed to be one fruit. I mean, you can't have one of the other. You can't cherry pick which one you want and say this. It's like it has to be all together. And he said,
you're jumping ahead of my notes.
Sorry.
Yes. No, you're okay. That's all right. I get to point out now.
He's like, if I were to think of a fruit, instead of cutting it up, he said, I want you to kind of think of it like an orange when you peel it and you already have those slices together. But those slices make up the whole one orange that is then covered up in that peel.
Partialism. I'm just messing with you.
And he's like, if you were to think of like a fruit in that way, like an orange is one of those examples where you have these different ones to make up the whole orange of the joy. Like you can't say you have a whole orange
if you're missing a slice.
If you're missing one of those slices. Because then it's like, it has that weird little indent, all
fluffy.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll just go into that now. So it's exactly right. You can't have love without the celebration of the love that is imparted upon you, right? Which is the Spirit dwelling within you. And you can't have peace if you do not have He who gives peace within you.
Yeah.
Right, and you can go through each one of them.
It's one of those where you're like,
and all of them are built upon joy, and then you can go with each single fruit. You can go, okay, this is how this connects to this one. This is how this connects back. This is how this connects back.
And it really makes you like, dang,
I'm sorely lacking.
Sorely lacking in all of these. And it puts in perspective the need for the Spirit to guide you and to provide those things for you.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So,
man.
Yeah.
I just feel kind of ashamed right now.
Good, right?
I know.
Good. That's good, right? Again, we're at the same place I was and the same place I continue to be when it gives a whole new perspective to a lot of things, including 1 Thessalonians 5.
Okay.
So 1 Thessalonians 5, 16 through 20. I actually want to read it. We won't read it in the Greek. I won't torture you poor souls with that.
You've done it before.
I have. And I will probably do it in the future. But right now, I'm just going to read it normal. Because the English actually, I think, does get enough of the point across. Right?
Okay.
So it's, rejoice always, pray constantly, give thanks in everything, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. Don't stifle the Spirit. Notice there's the Spirit again. Don't despise prophecies, but test all things. So I guess through 21. But test all things, hold on to what is good. So actually, I probably could have cut off at 19, but that's irrelevant.
No, you're fine.
All right, so how does he start that section? Rejoice always.
Yeah.
There's that celebration again, right? It's the same word. It's not the same word. It's a variant of it. And this is probably the most similar.
Is it Chara in
right?
root?
No, sorry. This would be like the second most similar.
Is it Chara in root?
It is. So it's karete.
Okay.
And you can hear that kai, right?
Yeah.
That, not the k, the kai.
Yeah.
Karete, right? Which is similar to our modern verb of celebrate.
Okay.
Right. So it's the idea of uplifting. But it's still different.
Sure.
Because different languages, et cetera, et cetera. But what I find interesting is attached to rejoice always, right? So he starts it off that way. And you know this, whenever there's a list in the Bible of things, the first is generally the building block.
Sure.
Right? And then the rest of the list follows. Right? So you get that in the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus starts off the series of teachings post Beatitudes by saying, I have not come to abolish the law.
Right.
Right. So this is just going to be building upon the law that you already know.
Yeah.
Here's the fulfillment of it.
See, it's interesting you say that because I was just reading a book in preparation for our mountain podcast. I know it's way down the line for when we get to the Sermon on the Mount because I know we're not going to spend. We either got to pick and choose. We're going to handle Sermon on the Mount for that one. It'd be better to do a whole Sermon on the Mount series at some point, or even just like parts of it.
Yeah.
But he was in chat his Pennington's 5th chapter of his book of I think it was Sermon on the Mount and Human Flourishing. I think it was. He spends the first few chapters explaining like some of the probably the best choice words in English for some of the Greek, like blessed is like he's like that's not really
right
based on the words associated with in the Septuagint and in the Hebrew. But he was going on about in his 5th chapter about the structure. And he said in his mind, there's 3 sections. He says there's another person that has a 4th section because there's one section that's like kind of hard to figure out which section officially fits in, but it still works as his 3 structure. And he talks about like how there's the introduction and there's like the body and then there's the kind of conclusion. And he has different words for it, but
right, yeah.
But it's the same thing you were talking about, like that the Beatitudes as like the introduction to everything that's about to be then taught on afterwards, which is built off of the whole. These are the things that are in Hebrew the ashrei, and then followed by I not come to abolish, but to fulfill, and then it builds up.
Yeah, exactly. So he starts off with that. Hey, celebrate. Right. Partake in that ongoing celebration, right? That's kairete. That's what that's saying. Go and participate in this ongoing celebration of the Spirit. And he backs that up. Do not stifle the Spirit. Right? To stifle is to stop something, right? To try and impede it in some way. Paul is saying, don't impede it. Don't impede what's already happening. Right? You can't impede something if it hasn't already begun. If it hasn't started. There's already a celebration going on. Don't impede it. Partake in it instead. Right? Pray always. Or pray without ceasing, as it's often translated. Right? That is in part how you participate. Because the Spirit comes and advocates for you with unspoken groanings. Right? The Spirit is involved in your prayer life. Involve Him. Continue to celebrate with Him. Right? Give thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You are thanking God for everything. That is also a form of the celebration. Right? It's an honoring of the honored, not guest, of the host. It's an honoring of the host of the celebration. Right? And then he closes it out with, do not stifle the Spirit. Right? Well, he goes on to say,
But
accept
in
what
that
is good.
section,
Right.
yeah.
Well, then it'd be, even in that section, he says, and do what is good, stay away from what is evil.
Mm-hmm.
Which is in part of the celebration. Right.
Right.
So,
And it probably is a both and-ish. You're probably throwing the context. Is it one of those where it's talking about like the internal specifically, or is it referring to like the corporate a little bit, or is it probably more like a both and?
we'd like a good both and
Both
theology.
and. I was just curious
Yeah.
about like his. I can't remember what the exact context of that specific section
so
was.
the exact context of 1 Thessalonians 5 is he's just wrapped up his teaching on eschatology. And so this is also his, but don't get ahead of yourselves, right? Because he gives 1 Thessalonians 4 of, God is coming. There will be a time of judgment. You will start to notice things that are happening. And then 1 Thessalonians 5 is he says, but don't get ahead of yourself. Right? Don't be patient, or do be patient, right? Don't get ahead of yourself. Be patient. You're not going to know when it's going to happen,
Right.
but it's coming. It may not happen in your lifetime, but it's something still for you to look forward to and for you to have hope in.
Sure.
In the meantime, celebrate in the Spirit.
Gotcha.
Right. And so that's kind of where he goes with that.
Interesting.
So we're going to keep going with Kairete. We're going to switch to a whole different book, which is 1 Peter.
Okay.
We're going to go to 1 Peter 4, verse 13. Peter, because he hates you, uses 3 different words that can be translated as joy, rejoice, all in the same sentence.
So clearly, because Peter was clearly thinking about you in the 21st
Exactly.
century, about you having to translate this. He wasn't thinking about his Greek readers
Exactly.
at all.
Well, and then the funny part is, we know Peter had a translator, right? Mark.
Yeah.
So likely Peter did not speak Greek. So really, I'm pinning the blame on Peter. It's Mark's fault. Or it's whoever was scribing for him here into Greek. I mean, perhaps Peter learned later on, although he's probably executed not long after the Gospel of Mark. So,
well, I was so as you know, so at the time we're recording this, I'm in the middle of recording and editing my set of videos on context for the letters, and
oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
First Peter. Yeah.
So 1st and 2nd Peter, and based on when he died, they're saying like, in order for us to understand when these letters were probably written, they gotta be like in the 60s. Especially the second one is gonna be like really borderline close to when he's done, and then the first one like just a couple years or so before, like sometime in the 60s.
Yeah.
So like very close to.
Yeah. So it's Mark's fault then, or
Yes.
again, whichever translator was writing this down, to use 3 different words that can all mean the same thing, but also don't mean the same thing. All right. So we have kairete, which we talked about.
Yeah.
We have karete. Karete,
Okay.
which is the same root.
Okay.
So kairete is rejoice. Karete is you may/might rejoice.
I see a word is not at all the same.
Correct. You see a word that is not at all the same. It is a nightmare to say as an English speaker. Go ahead and give that a shot.
I'm not going to try.
Come on, you got it.
I don't remember my Greek pronunciations. I'm much better with my Hebrew.
So it's agaliomenoi.
What the heck was that?
Agaliomenoi. Agaliomenoi.
Okay, I'm not going to try right now. when I rework on my Greek, I'll work on it then.
Yeah, which it's the active, not active. What's the word I'm looking for? It's the ing version. I
Oh,
can't
okay.
think of that. I can't think of what that's called.
I don't remember what it's called either.
I'm
But I
blanking
know what you're
really
talking
hard
about.
right now. Yeah, it's the ing version of the word exult.
Okay.
But we often translate it as joy. I think that's a really poor translation.
Yeah. No, the same, going back to an early example, like
Or sorry, rejoice. We often translate it as.
there's that one verse in Deuteronomy. It was like they put gladness. I was like, it doesn't really work there.
Yeah.
Uh,
So it's kind of funny. Exaltation, the term there, is actually the closest idea they had to us in
okay.
terms of the outpouring of joy.
Hmm.
We often think of exaltation as like honoring. They thought of it more like, certainly that's a part of it, right? Because you kind of get that in Matthew 23:12,
Mm-hmm.
but that's actually not the same word that's
Mm-hmm.
used here for exalt.
Okay.
That's an entirely different word. It doesn't even share a root with it. So, like, I even made a specific note about that in my notes of like, this is not the same word. This is more about status, right? It's more about honoring status than joy. Matthew 23:12 is.
Gotcha.
Here, 1 Peter, agaliomenoi, says is more about exaltation as in celebration, as in the outpouring of joy upon someone.
Gotcha.
All right. So if we go to 1 Peter 4:13,
Mm-hmm.
and I will replace the words in the actual sentence. So pray
Okay.
for me here. Instead, kairete, as you share in the sufferings of the Messiah, so that kairete in the sufferings of the Messiah, as you share in the sufferings of the Messiah, so that kairete at the revelation of his agaliomenoi.
Interesting. Okay.
Right. So some people are sorry. You may also rejoice with great agaliomenoi at the revelation of his glory. I messed that up. Sorry. Right. So, for example, the HCSB says, instead, rejoice as you share in the sufferings of the Messiah, so that you may also rejoice with great joy at the revelation of his glory. Now, that's even a mess to say in English, let alone you're looking at the Greek and you're going, that's a different word. That's a way different word. What are you doing?
Why do we translate this?
Exactly. So, some translated as joy, some I would say more accurately translated as exaltation. But it is technically, it falls under that joy umbrella, right? Of we are celebrating an event.
It's like the word blessed, where we just kind of slap the word blessed down. We're not really
Exactly.
sure what to do with it.
Exactly.
Or soul, we're like, I'm not sure what to do with this.
Yep.
Soul. It's like, that's
Yeah.
not what the word means.
Yeah. So yes, I would agree. Joy there is definitely one of the words that we just kind of throw out there. It's like, that's not what that is.
Well, I think, obviously, I'm not trying to bash our translators. They're doing
No.
they're doing what they can,
They're doing God's work out
and
there.
they're following a specific set of rules. They may even they even disagree with some of their own translation choice, but it was based on a vote. But like, then you have, like as we were, like when we were a little more on the layman side of Christianity, we just kind of read and just didn't really think about like
Right.
the original words, and we're just throwing these Christian words around, and we're like, no idea what they mean at all. Like, I guarantee we could walk up to someone like, what does blessed mean? And be like,
It means God has given me a lot of good things.
and it's like, oh, that's one word, and that's probably closer to the word that's better translated blessed, even though it's not quite
Right.
correct. And there's another words like we translate blessed, like that's not what the word means at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, joy is definitely one of those. And especially here to translate that
as
word.
great joy.
Yeah, as great joy. Which with exaltation comes great joy.
Sure.
In a sense, right? At least in the way that we usually think about it. But again, we're getting back to that point of like celebration.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, great joy. What is it with great joy? With great joy at the revelation of his glory. Right?
Yeah.
Again, it's anchored to that event.
Yeah.
we have to remember that again, they were very well aware of how people of their time thought of things.
Mm.
Right, John, for as basic as his Greek is one of the most brilliant men ever in terms of discussing philosophy. Right? The apostles, the writers, are very well aware of what people thought in their time, and they're using the words of their time to explain these ideas.
Yeah.
Joy in the New Testament, as I wrote here, kind of closing out, joy in the New Testament is always reflective of God, who he is, and what he has done. Right? He should be the thing that causes us to go and partake of his joy and celebration for the work he does in us. That is the idea anchoring joy in the New Testament. It's not this, as we think of it today, happiness, right? This nice warm fuzzy feeling that you get. That's not what the authors are talking about, right? Particularly Paul, when he's talking about joy, especially, and I'm going to go back to Galatians 5. That's not what he means when he says the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. He is not talking about you should have a nice warm fuzzy feeling, or you should generally feel good about things. It's you should be praising and thanking and celebrating God for everything that he has done. And Peter hits on it too there.
Yeah.
Which is you ought to have this celebration, this exaltation of God at the revelation of his glory.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That you may rejoice in it, right? We talked about may several times today. Right? But it's not this may of option. It's that you may have the opportunity to revel in, for lack of a better word, to just be surrounded by this utter and complete celebration of God. Because God takes on flesh, dies, rises again to give us new life, and then dwells within us. Joy is meant to be thankfulness. It's meant to be gladness, not happiness. There is a difference. It's meant to be celebration of who God is.
Of which that celebration has we were talking about it before, like with the Hebrew simcha, where they would be kind of like joined together. That feeling in that celebration, like
right,
you can't. It's almost like you can't really say you have that feeling if you don't have that celebration.
Exactly, and you can't have that celebration if you don't have the outpouring, right? The simcha.
Yeah, and then we were talking about before, like they're not saying that if you're at a low moment or have like low points in life that you can't still have that simcha of some sort, or in this case the Chara of some point, because in the Psalms talk about the fullness of simcha is in the presence of God, and here's like celebrate in the very thing that God has done. It's like there's the emphasis with the Greek word is being used there of like beyond that feeling, do this.
Right.
And then the Hebrew being like, because when you're doing this, you will have this feeling in some capacity as well.
Exactly.
And even if you don't, there's going to be some push towards that direction.
Right. And that's what I love so much about Peter sticking this verse smack dab in the middle of the section that he does. Because 1 Peter 4 is all about enduring trials.
Well, the entire...
Right, First Peter itself is about enduring trials, but specifically in chapter 4, he's like, you should be glad to suffer for, right? He says it there.
Yeah.
Right, rejoice in that you share in the sufferings of the Messiah.
Yeah.
So that you may rejoice and have great joy at the revelation of his glory.
Because they're going through a whole thing where they're being like, in that time period within that region, they're like isolated and like they're not even just like foreigners, like we kind of talk about that spiritual sense, but they're like treated like they're actual foreigners and exiles of the land. Like, nope, you're Christian. We're not going to treat you equally here. And he's like, you should rejoice in the fact that they are singling you out because there's something different about you. And they know they can single you out. They know who you are.
They hate us because they hated him first.
Yeah. And because of who you follow, rejoice in His glory.
Exactly.
Like, hold on. Yeah. Which can also bring about the simcha and all this.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
all
no,
connected.
It's weird. It's almost like there's one author present underneath it all.
Well,
who
it's weird because like there is
we ought to celebrate.
It is that weird layer where in the Greek there seems to be, I don't want to say that that full distinction like we've talked about in the 200 years, where it's like no, happy and joy are two separate.
Right.
But there's a little bit layer of there's a little division from more of it just being is more than just that feeling, but you won't be without that feeling in some capacity. Right. Whereas we're kind of like joy, happiness. We almost treat them like they're not similar in any way.
Yeah.
Even though like they still by English definition they're still similar and related.
Exactly.
But that Greek layer of like go beyond just that feeling, and then in the Hebrew is like the two should be together. Like you should try, like the desire would be to have both be together, and that they shouldn't be separate. That you should be able to have this. But then Paul is like. It's almost like Ecclesiastes or Proverbs. Proverbs like, here's everything how it should be. And Ecclesiastes is like, but what if it's not? And Paul's like, here's your answer for if it's not, do it. Do it anyways. Celebrate anyways, even if you're low, because there's one who will bring healing to all those things. He's conquered all things. Like all those things is covered. It's just dealt away with. And that new creation, celebrating the things that he has done now, celebrating what the Holy Spirit is doing now, and celebrating the thing that is going to come later. Yeah. Man, feel a little underappreciative of this in comparison to like before. It's like, oh wow, I really did not really think about these things, and also like, how much Chara or simcha or gil or any of those things have really been in my life, not just because I'm like the more like naturally reserved person, but like in general. Like how much of that is really there. It kind of puts things into a perspective. It's like, man, it's kind of like you were doing the whole, probably one of the proper negatives would be like the complaining.
Yes.
And then we talked about how like that complaint is a complete neglect and taking for granted the things God has done and given you, which is how the Holy Spirit can be forgotten. We take for granted the Holy Spirit and the work of Christ so frequently.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. We do not celebrate enough.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Man.
Yeah. Well, we hope you have enjoyed this series on joy, short as it may have been. But I feel like it was a good length.
It was good.
I feel like it was good to just put out a little series.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously more that can be said, right?
Oh,
there's always more about any topic that can be said, but
of course,
I feel like we really kind of at least brought maybe some information that you didn't know, which that's the goal.
Some reflection.
Exactly. Some reflection. At the very least, I hope you feel so abundantly called out.
That's how I felt. The second you started, like, oh no, I'm being called out on the spot right now.
Right there along with you.
Yeah.
If you want to be along with us, you can like and subscribe. Costs you nothing, and it helps us out a ton. Thank you for looking at me awkwardly.
I think we're going to say more.
Okay. Well, and if you want to be along with us, you can like and subscribe. It costs you nothing. It helps us out a ton. And it allows you to be notified of the great content that we come out with, such as these series.
If you click the bell, then you'll get notified. If you don't click the bell. So click the subscribe button, press the like button, press the bell button, and leave a comment below.
Yeah, leave a comment below.
Press all the buttons except for the X button.
I was going to say, and the dislike button. Don't press that one.
Yeah.
But if you would like to see a topic discussed, maybe something that piques your interest, maybe something you want to learn more about, haven't looked into, let us know.
Yeah.
We would love to hear from you, and we would love feedback.
It would be good to do some more brief word studies.
Mm-hmm.
Just even like words that are like so commonly used by Christians that we just are so
blessed could be one of them.
That's the plan already in my head. That's definitely going to be one of them. We'll figure that out. But yeah, because we're going to do some more theme studies and some more. I think we'll definitely do some more studies that put things back in perspective and make me feel called out again.
It's good for you.
Yeah. But with that said, thanks guys. Do all the button pushing that Kale mentioned.
Lord willing, we will see you in the next one.